Scathing allegations of military women being raped, even gang raped, assaulted, and harassed at alarming rates. Those are just some of the shocking allegations in this federal lawsuit just filed today. It's brought by 8 current and former servicewomen. The lawsuit paints the military as having a, quote, high tolerance for sexual predators in their ranks and, quote, zero tolerance for those who report rape, sexual assault, and harassment. This lawsuit could prove especially telling considering that even Defense Secretary Leon Panetta admits, and did it just a couple months ago, that sexual assaults in the military are a huge problem. He estimated there were 19,000 sexual assaults last year alone. Ariana Klay and Elle Helmer are just 2 of those estimated 19,000 possible rape victims. They're a part of this lawsuit that was filed today, and they just held a news conference about it. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
And if you don't mind, just to sort of set up your stories, Ariana, I'll begin with you. Tell me what happened and why you're coming forward.
After a year of pretty shocking harassment at 8th and I, it culminated in a gang assault led by a senior officer in my command and his civilian friend. They came to my house a block from base, threatened death, and proceeded to assault me.
And Ariana, let me ask you, did you have a bad feeling when they showed up at your house? Did you hesitate at all about letting them in, or did you not let them in? Were they forceful from the get-go?
I did not let them in.
Okay.
I did not let them in. They let themselves in. They were uninvited. I did have a bad feeling. He was screaming at me from the time that he entered the door. He felt that since I had humiliated him in front of his junior Marines by not obeying his order, that he wanted to humiliate me.
And Elle, I mean, just watching both of you, your body language, I know this is not easy to talk about, and I hate taking you back to these allegations, but I just want to be able to set this up properly. Elle, tell me what happened to you and why you are coming forward along with Ariana.
Okay. I was the only female officer at a essentially all-male command that supplies and defends the White House and the president. They are the ceremony dog and pony show of the Marine Corps, and they pride themselves more on how they look in a uniform than their ability to lead and protect their Marines. But after roughly a year of being stationed there, I was ordered to attend a mandatory command sponsor, colonel-endorsed pub crawl, paid for with taxpayer dollars. And after the pub crawl, I was asked by my commanding officer to come back to his office. He wanted to address some things with me. I had no feeling that, you know, any of this would go, my life was going to change immediately, considering I was ordered to attend this event. So when I got back to his office, he immediately began to press himself against me and pressure me. I tried to fight him off. There was a physical altercation. I was knocked unconscious, and that's when the rape occurred.
And Elle, I'm going to follow up. You brought up this pub crawl, and before I ask you this, at any point did you think, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go. How can you order me to go to a pub crawl?
Drinking events there were mandatory weekly drinking events at this command. So in both of our cases, I guess things didn't change much because hers was, 2 or 3 years ago. We were required to attend these weekly social events which revolved around drinking.
Yeah, Kira, I was ordered to attend by the man who raped me, by the company commander. So I tried to not go, and I was told that it's not optional.
Were you forced to drink, Elle?
Absolutely. In addition to just an immense amount of alcohol consumption and an overall Lord of the Flies atmosphere, there's a lot of hazing that occurs as well.
So let me ask you two this. Officials at the Marine Barracks came forward saying that the charges were, quote, thoroughly investigated and found to be unsubstantiated. Also, the officials went on to say that both of you were accused of misconduct, including fraternizing with other officers and excessive drinking, and have since left the Marine Corps. What's your response to that?
I would say to that that's the case they've been trying to make for years, that there are just a few bad apples instead of admitting to the crisis on their hands. It's not that far-fetched to say of all the combat arms Marines there, many of whom have never worked with females, that there might be some issues. Although it was corroborated that I was routinely called a slut and a whore, it was also, my commanding officer also decided that I had welcomed the harassment because I wore makeup and running shorts. So, yes, the commander's in a position where he reports directly to the Commandant of the Marine Corps, and that's not something a commander wants to report. The system's set up so that he's in that undesirable position. This is consistent with the retaliation. The lawsuit alleges that they have zero tolerance for those who report assaults rather than having zero tolerance for those who are the perpetrators, and this is consistent with that statement.
Yeah, Kira, to go on with that, I mean, what we're finding too, and what happened to me for 6 years, is the process of reporting an assault and a rape is immediately spun upon, well, how do we make the victim the accused, and what will be the subterfuge by which they are dismissed from the Marine Corps. Ariana Klay and I both accepted full responsibilities for any collateral investigations, and unfortunately, we were lieutenants at the time, so we accepted responsibility for wrongdoing. Why did no one else?
I want to ask you both this, too. You're obviously beautiful women, and so my guess is there were many men that attempted to ask you out, make a pass at you. I mean, let's be real. When you're a beautiful woman, that's what happens. How did you deal with passes in the past? Elle?
At first people, you're the shiny new toy, and because I was the only female officer at an all-male command with a handful of exceptions for female enlisted junior Marines, people did ask you out and people did make passes. At first it was just kind of easier to laugh them off, but then you realize they became more serious, and I would try and just say, this isn't really professional, unfortunately, or I'm dating someone. But the minute you said that, you went from being the shiny object of their affection and their potential lust to being called horrible derogatory terms. So, I mean, the minute you deflect any sort of attention that they may want, now you're their enemy, now you're their target, and it just got worse and worse.
And the military has come forward, the DOD giving this statement that sexual assault has no place in this department. Also, I want to point out, after the fact, after these astounding numbers of sexual assault cases have come forward and these allegations, that the Pentagon now has a new director of sexual assault prevention and response, an Air Force Major General, a female, who has said that we own this problem, we need to fix this problem. Ariana, do you have faith in that?
I don't, because they've been saying that for decades, and to really have reform, it's going to take completely restructuring the system. It's a matter of basic checks and balances and separation of powers. Right now, the military investigates itself. The Marine Corps deals with the greatest moral challenges every day. They're a war-fighting institution. So it's not equipped to deal with this challenge alone. It needs an external, neutral organization to assist it, and that's not going to be anything within DOD.
And Elle, I have talked with women in your position, ones that it's very tough for them to come forward and talk about this because they're afraid that immediately the men in the military will say, see, this is why we shouldn't have women in the military. This is why they shouldn't be in combat. This is why they shouldn't be mingling with us. Final thought, Elle, what do you say to women who are scared to come forward because of the stereotyping, because of the backlash?
I would be remiss if I said it wasn't extremely challenging, and that this is the first time in 6 years I've had a voice. And that's that to the victims out there who want to come forward or who are debating coming forward, please do. There's strength in numbers, and we're not all lying. This won't go away. This continues to happen. Be strong, believe in yourself, live up to your morals, come forward and try and get help and do what's right for you yourself before the military.
Elle Helmer, Ariana Klay, appreciate your time this morning very much.
Thank you.
You bet.